Ladies and gentlemen, the Cleveland Browns have done it again. Yet another PR nightmare for this stupid franchise. Earlier today, it was announced that former Texas wide receiver Isaiah Bond had been cleared of charges in assault against a woman. I can't say much more than that because of YouTube's monetization policies. But it was announced that he had been cleared, and not even 10 minutes later, who comes in and scoops him up? None other than the Cleveland Browns. It was announced by Bond himself on his Instagram that he signed with the Browns. There are certain organizations that have to take certain players off their board. Is Isaiah Bond going to come in and help the Cleveland Browns? Yes, I believe so. Would he have been drafted if he weren't arrested right before the draft? Yes, I believe so. But did Cleveland have any business whatsoever getting into this mess? No, they did not. The PR nightmares with this organization have been so apparent over these last 5 years, ever since Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski took over. It's been one thing after another, all starting off, of course, with the Deshaun Watson trade, giving him the most guaranteed money in NFL history after trading away 3 first-round picks and more, and controversially moving on from your franchise quarterback in Baker Mayfield to get him. That started everything. And Deshaun Watson, of course, has been a complete disaster ever since he got to Cleveland. That's a different conversation for a different day. But it's not just that. You've got Myles Garrett and his incident with Mason Rudolph dating back to 2019. Then you've got more recent stuff, like their second-round pick from last season getting involved in a DV incident, and then their second-round pick from this season getting involved in a DV incident in Quinshon Judkins. Judkins isn't even signed with the team yet. That's how bad things are in Cleveland right now. And Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski said, yeah, let's go ahead and sign Isaiah Bond. I understand that Bond was cleared in court, but you just can't get involved in this mess if you're Cleveland. I don't care what the circumstances are. If there's any accusation of this stuff being attached to a player, an organization like Cleveland, who's got significant history of this, cannot dabble into it. I cannot believe that the Browns thought that this was a good idea. Now they're going to have to answer even more questions, create even more distractions off the field when they're still trying to figure out who their starting quarterback's going to be this year. This organization drives me mad. It really does. They do everything wrong. Here we thought maybe 5 years ago that the Cleveland Browns were finally on the right track. They went into Pittsburgh with Baker Mayfield at quarterback and won a playoff game. Then the following year, Baker injures his shoulder, and ever since that point, the Browns have grossly mismanaged almost every situation. I don't understand how this leadership is still in place with the Browns. Well, I do. It's because of Jimmy Haslam, their owner. He is a combination of incompetent, stubborn, pompous, and just overall stupid. And this is another example of this right here. I cannot believe the Cleveland Browns literally were in a room with all of their decision makers and they said, yeah, let's go ahead and sign Isaiah Bond. I understand that they needed help at wide receiver. I get it, but there are so many other guys that you could have signed. You could have reunited with Amari Cooper, who's still out there. That's possible. You could have done that. But instead, you go out and sign a player that has even more off-the-field concerns, no matter how the circumstances played out in court. Same thing happened with Deshaun Watson in court, and they still went out and signed him, and they are still dealing with the PR nightmare to this day. It's unbelievable. It really is. As you can tell, if you guys don't already know, I'm a Broncos fan. You guys can see my shirt, see everything in my background. I literally have a Broncos channel where I cover the team. But this Cleveland Browns organization makes me so freaking angry, dude. They really do. And I just cannot believe that the current leadership is still in place. I swear to God, man, they need to blow up the entire operation there and start from scratch. This is ridiculous. All right, NFL fans, let me know in the comment section below. How do you guys feel about the Cleveland Browns signing Isaiah Bond? Do you think that this is going to be worth the PR nightmare in the end? Because it sure as hell wasn't with Deshaun Watson. And I'm not saying that Isaiah Bond is a bad player. He's a good player that, again, would have been drafted pretty high, but you just cannot get yourself into this if you're the Cleveland Browns. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. I would love to hear them, as always. And until next time, I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.